Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei was Servant of Leviathan. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. I sighed as I looked out the window of this apartment in the human world. The human world, so beautiful, yet inhabited by worthless humans. We deserve it. It is our natural right to inhabit the earth and the underworld. I brought this upon myself though. I volunteered for this mission, hoping it will bring us back into power. It's also the chance to destroy those loathsome Gremmery and Citri clans from the face of the earth. It's a rather strange mission when I heard it. Infiltrate Kuo, insert myself into the circle of the devils there and gather information. I protested. It was a mission that had no definite time span, which is prone to failure. A mission that has no end time is a futile mission, my father told me throughout the years. And this damn limiter on my ankle. What am I, a human convict? This ankle monitor limits the flow of power throughout my body. Right now, I am barely stronger than a low-class devil. That hurts my pride as a high-class devil to be reduced to such a weakling. Oh, yes, I forgot. I didn't introduce myself yet. My name is Issei Hyoudou, age 22. Only child of Duke Koji Hyoudou and Lady Sternia Stolas. My family has been loyal to the Leviathan since the beginning of time. The true Leviathan, of course, not the imitation child Leviathan who is running the underworld right now. I am talking about the original Leviathan, the one that brought our kind out of heaven and made us who we are to this day. I was a powerful child. Having two powerful devil bloodlines running through your body does that to you. My father served the Leviathan faithfully, as did his father and his father before that. I followed in those footsteps. I was loyal to her only. My master, Katerea Leviathan. Beautiful, intelligent, fierce, but kind and loving. Everything one could hope for in a master. So I eagerly volunteered for this mission. But that's enough of me for now. Let's get this story really started. I got out of bed and put on my uniform. It was tight and utterly unfashionable. I frowned as I put on my shoes and left for school, just a 10-minute walk from the apartment my master provided for me. When I passed the school gates, I heard the conversations of various teenage girls with my enhanced hearing as a devil. It was annoying to say the least, with the girls commenting about my appearance, which is beautiful as I am a devil. I made my way up to the classroom where I was assigned and waited for the teacher to call me in. "Class, we have a new student," she stated as I walked in. I heard the whispers and giggles of the girls, but kept my attention to the two girls I have been briefed on. There, in the middle of the class, Ria's Gremmery, sister of the imposter Lucifer that is running the underworld, and her queen, Akino Himejima. "Hello there, my name is Issei Oyama. Nice to meet you all." I smiled at the class as the girls sighed in unison. "Okay, please sit next to Miss Gremmery," the teacher said as Ria's raised her hand. "No need, I already know where you sit." I made my way over there, a smile plastered on my face to disarm the devils here. I sat down on the seat to the right of her and glanced over in her direction. "Nice to meet you," she said. "Likewise." Contact made. The day was uneventful for the most part. Lessons in human history, language, mathematics, and science. 3 out of those 4 I've been schooled in since I was a child. And language. Please, as a devil, I have the ability to communicate across any language, whether it be verbal or reading-wise. Throughout the day, I saw the 2 devils and their peerages. Peerages, such disgraceful, low groups. Purity is key for us devils, and they're ruining it for us true devils. Reincarnating other brings into devils is absolutely detestable. Devils are strong, and reincarnating humans out of all beings introduces weakness into devilhood. It is absolutely disgusting that the underworld has fallen to such levels. I had to encounter numerous reincarnated mutts without revealing myself, a task that was extremely difficult given the clear, disgusting aura they gave off. The Gremmery and Citri auras were pure, and the others weren't, making me want to gag if I didn't get away from them immediately. From the reincarnated devils I saw, I put the total number at a little near a dozen. Most were young, being a year or so since they became devils. As I observed the devils, I felt some of them looking back. I caught covert glances from Ria's, her queen, and 2 devils who I followed back to Ria's. This gave me the impression that they are her slaves, reincarnated devils that serve her. I don't believe that my aura is readily detectable to their senses. The limiter on my left leg prevents my aura from being detected unless you have really good aura detection abilities, or are really close to my body. I remained cautious for the rest of the day, exiting school as quickly as I could after the day ended, as I planned on what I was going to be in this school. Report in, Issei. Lady Leviathan, I have made contact with the 2 heiresses. I saw them in their peerages, and put their current number at 12 or less. Lady Leviathan nodded in the communication hologram. The spell held up as Lady Leviathan put her hand on her chin and thought. "Get into contact with them," she said as I raised my eyebrows. "To what purpose is this for? Wouldn't getting close to them risk exposing my observation on them?" I asked her, respectfully of course. There is always a risk of that happening, Issei. Nonetheless, it is always nice getting intelligence on the two sisters of the fake Satans, she said as I understood her point. Roger that. I shall find a way to insert myself into their circle. Continue your good work. Alert us to any important intelligence, she said, breaking off her end of the communication spell. I did the same before sitting down in my bed. How exactly shall I get into their circle? I closed my eyes, pondering this question for a few seconds as I weighed many options in my head. I could hide my devil blood and take an evil piece into my body, becoming a peerage member in either peerage. Disgraceful, so I put that on the bottom of my choices. I could become a client of either. Interesting, no noticeable drawbacks. Save for later. Draw their attention some other way. Good, I'll go with that. I finished school, immediately walking to the room where the kendo club held practices. It is said that performances in athletics brings attention to oneself, so that is how I will draw attention to myself from them. I decided to join a club that has contact is the best for me, and this narrowed it down to kendo or judo. From the information that one of our spies in Gremory Manor provided us, a member in Ria's peerage is quite the swordsman. As such, kendo will provide a direct path to his attention, and therefore Ria's attention. I remained stoic as I entered the dojo and saw someone in kendo armor. Is this the kendo club? I asked the girl. I can't tell who is underneath that armor. Yes, what do you want? The voice, a female, asked me in a rather rash tone. I frowned at this response and thought of how I would go about responding to this. I'm looking join, and I know that I can beat everyone here. I frowned as the last human fell. Humans are such weak beings, and these girls provided no different. I ran through them like nothing. 12 girls stepped forward, 12 fell. No one landed a single strike on me, and I parried and blocked every strike they threw before I decided to end each match with a single thrust front of the helmet. The rude girl, the girl who I asked my question to in the beginning, was the captain apparently. Not anymore. Such skill, she said, awestruck at this. It's true human. Swords always made sense to me, and I've always been skilled with them, no matter the shape or size. I smiled as I took off the kendo helmet. So, I assume that I am the captain now. It's rather boring toying with such weak opponents. Day after school, I led the kendo club's practices. What constitutes for a light stretch for devils ended up making each girl vomit after 20 minutes of practice. Yet, each came back, more determined and fit. They've even started landing strikes on when I let them, of course. They're rather remarkable, these humans. Push them, and they push back harder on you. Truly remarkable willpower. On another topic, my goal to get the attention of the swordsman of Ria's peerage has worked. 3 days after I assumed position of captain, he walked into the kendo training hall as the girls swooned over him. He was handsome, I'll admit that, but his aura as a reincarnated devil was greatly irritating me. Hello there, you here for practice? I asked, knowing what his purpose was already. No, but I heard you are a good swordsman. So I've been told, I responded, knowing of the rumors about me in the school. A knight in shining armor with incredible sword skills defeated the entire kendo club and became their captain while sweeping girls off their feet. Greatly exaggerated, of course, as on par with what teenage girls, whether they be human or devil. Would you like to spar? I asked him, as he nodded. He put on protective equipment, as did I. We got our wooden swords as all the girls watched over our little meet. Good luck, I said to him. Likewise, he said. We bowed and one of the girls, I forget who, started the match with her signal. I dashed at him and heard a gasp behind his helmet. He probably wasn't expecting me to move that fast as he thinks I'm a human. Big mistake number 1. I slashed at his helmet, but he managed to pull back. He tried to stab me in the torso, but I parried it away with my wooden sword. I advanced towards him, ducking a wide swing and lifting my sword up in an attempt to hit him the torso. Damn, he's fast. Oh wait, it's not that he is fast, it is just this damn limiter is inhibiting my full speed. Right now I am just barely faster than a human athlete, and I'm dragging this out, as much as it pains me. I can't win, otherwise he will know something is up, as a human could never hope in matching a devil in terms of speed. I have to throw this now to avoid suspicion. I parried his sword, and purposefully avoided retracting it, and I let him hit me in the side of the facial protector. Stop. Match over, the girl said as I sighed. Good match, he said with a smile after taking his helmet off. He approached him with his hand out. You too, I smiled, shaking his hand despite the reincarnated stench that was coming from his body. We should spar some more in the future, he said as I nodded. Indeed. What school of swordsmanship did you study from? He asked me. We both went into the guys' locker room after the spar to change into our regular school uniforms. I thought of the various sword styles to think of a plausible backstory. Good lie, Issei. Good lie. Ijutsu. That explains why your style was so aggressive. Very nice. He bought it. Idiot mutt. The day after started normally, until lunch, when I was confronted in the cafeteria. Issei Oyama. This girl, a reincarnated mutt, asked as she stood next to one of the heiresses, the sister of the fake Leviathan. What could she want? Yes, what can I do for you? I asked in a nice voice, holding back the gagging of being next to this mutt's aura. It has come to our attention that you are now the captain of the Kendo Club. Is this correct? She asked me as I felt the heiress stare me down. She can't feel my aura, can she? This is indeed correct, I said as the heiress nodded. All right then, please follow us, the heiress said, turning around to walk away. What could they want? Am I being led into a trap? I'm not in trouble, am I? I feigned in a shocked voice. The mutt, still looking at me, spoke to me. No, we just need you in the student council room to fill out some paperwork, she said as she turned around to follow her master. Ah, thank you, miss. I didn't catch the mutt's name, and I need to remain polite. Shinra, Vice President Tsubaki Shinra, she said as I followed the two. Well, one devil and one reincarnated mutt out of the cafeteria. And you are? I asked, referring to the heiress. I only knew her as a Citri and the sister of the fake Leviathan, and I didn't know her first name. Might as well know the name of who you will kill in the future. President Sauna Shitori, she stated as a fact of matter. The rumors of her being uptight appear to be true. As we approached the student council room, I felt more reincarnated auras. I wanted to throw up as I entered the well-furnished student council room, but managed to keep up my cover. There are 6 more devils, 5 girls and 1 boy. The boy in particular had a strange feeling to him. Great power resides within him. It's faint now, but it might grow in the future. She might have recruited a dragon-wielding human into her peerage. I'll need to confirm if he has a dragon in some way. Okay, please sit across from Saji. He will hand you the necessary forms to complete, the sister of the fake Leviathan said to me. I sat across from the boy Saji, who frowned at me sitting across from him. Here, he said abruptly. Is he angry at me for some reason? I glanced at the forms he pushed in my direction, and then at the others in the room. It makes sense. This is his harem, and he views me as an intruder. I chuckled as I looked at him. Pathetic. A mutt having a harem of other incarnated mutts. Fitting. A true devil like myself would only have the best girls for his harem. I'm still working on getting my master, but it is coming along. What's so funny? He asked me in a rude voice. I frowned and stopped my laughter. Nothing. After finishing the paperwork, I stood up to hand the forms to the fake Leviathan sister when something caught my eye. Is that chess? I asked, glancing to the chessboard by the window. Indeed it is. Do you play? She asked me. I do. I've been a champion of chess, so to speak. I'm not bragging. No one beats Lord Euclid Lucifuge in a game of chess, ever, and I did, breaking his undefeated streak. Master Rhizam even congratulated me on the feat. Really, would you like to play? She said, a smile forming on her lips. Funny, you think you could beat me? Of course. Best of luck to you. It was hard, I admit. This girl had a great strategic mind. She thought 20 moves ahead, forcing me to in turn do the same. Every move leads to 10,000 more, and I had to carefully dwell on each one. She forced me to do my best, and I haven't had such a good game in many years since Lord Lucifuge. There was, however, one fatal flaw in her strategy. She was a great attacker and marvelous defender, but she cared about her pieces far too much. You see, chess isn't a game based solely on number of pieces one has. That doesn't determine the outcome of the game. Sure, having more pieces is great, but territory and positioning are far superior in my opinion. And that was her fatal flaw. She wouldn't capture territory at the expense of her pieces, something that could readily be exploited. Her strategy of preserving her pieces contrasted with mine. Use the pieces to capture the advantageous positions, and dispose of the pieces when their task is complete. It showed on the board. She had 10 of her pieces left, and I only had 5. Her pieces, however, were bunched up or blocked by each other. Her rooks were non-factors, being blocked by her pawns and otherwise were too far away to be of support. Her knights, rooks, queen, 2 pawns, and 1 bishop were gone. I lost 7 pawns, 1 rook, 1 bishop, 1 knight, and 1 queen. Everything was in place though. Good game, President Shitori. However, not good enough. It's over, I said, moving my remaining pawn to the other side. I received a queen, completely trapping her king. The king was trapped by my new queen on her row, prevented from moving diagonally due to my bishop, and couldn't move a space down to my knight. Checkmate, I said, getting up from the table. I smiled as I turned around, seeing the shocked faces of everyone who had gathered to watch the game. But especially Sona's face was the best. Complete shock and disbelief at the fact that I won. Wait, let me see. I heard her move the pieces to see if she could do anything, but no, she couldn't. It's over. Good game. Report in, Issei. Lady Leviathan commanded me over the communication portal. I've inserted myself into the sights of the Gremory and Citri clans. I also humiliated the Citri heiress today by beating her in chess. My master smiled at this. She truly is beautiful, but especially when she smiles. Good my Issei. I felt satisfaction at this. I have a task for you. Of course, Lady Leviathan. There have been rumors of fallen angels in your area. Normally we wouldn't care, but we have also heard reports of a special human who is in cohorts with these fallen angels. This human is said to be the fallen maiden, Asia Argento, and she is said to possess the rare sacred gear, Twilight Healing. She told me through the portal. Twilight Healing. I've heard of this before. It is said to heal any injury if I recall correctly. Investigate these rumors. If they are found to be true, kill everyone you come across to find the sacred gear and acquire it. The sacred gear will be of great use to us on the battlefield, so don't lose your opportunity to get it. Understood. I was smiling when the portal closed. Sacred gears. All humans have the potential to have one implanted in their body by the Creator of Heaven, whose name I won't name due to me receiving pain if I do. The only devils that have sacred gears are reincarnated mutts. These so-called devils were humans before being reincarnated, and that is the only reason that they have their sacred gear. I think this will be the first time that a pure devil will have a sacred gear in their body, and a rare one at that. Twilight Healing. A sacred gear that can turn the tide of battle by healing anything. In our hands, we can finally use it to overthrow the fake Satans and bring the rightful Satans back to where they belong. Alright, slow down, Issei. Think. Breathe. First, I have to make sure the rumors and find this girl. If she is with fallen angels, kill all of those ravens and then secure the girl. There is a spell that Lord Beelzebub taught me years back that can determine the type and ability of a sacred gear, and I will use that on the girl. If it is Twilight Healing, I will kill the girl and take her sacred gear from her. Alright, sounds like a plan. The Misako, I said to the Kendo Club's former captain, now vice captain, in the hallway after school. Yes, Captain, she asked me, turning around to face me. Can you lead the club today? I have a family issue that I need to settle. Sure, I smiled. That was easier than I expected. I expected her to pry or question me, but she didn't. I made my way to entrance of Kuo Academy, but stopped and frowned. I felt them staring at me. There are two of them, following me. They are now hiding in the trees, but I can still sense their presence. I have to lose them. I walked to the other side of the street, and made a turn at the corner. I still felt them tailing me, so I continued walking to a main road. I then cut to a small side street and hid behind a black car. I glanced from behind the car's bumper as I saw the two mutts trailing me walk past the side street. It was a girl from Ria's peerage, a freshman if I remember correct. She is the one the students call the mascot, and her name is Kaneko Taoju, I believe. She caught my attention as when I walked past her in the hallway. Her aura stood out. It was reincarnated, but not human. She was some type of yokai, cat in particular, but I couldn't get anything else beside that information. The girl walking beside her was the girl from the student council room yesterday. It was the student council vice president, Shinra, I believe. Why are they following me? Do they know I am a devil? I kept these thoughts in my head as I turned down the side street and headed for my true destination, the abandoned church on the edge of town. All the fallen angels that I've encountered always nested in abandoned churches or monasteries. They would smash the religious imagery in the place. Not that I complained, as the imagery made me roll my eyes as a devil. The place then got a new coat of blood paint after I killed the fallen angels in the location. Call it making the world safer, one black feather at a time. Let's make it happen again. I found the church on the other side of the town. It looks run down and abandoned, but I feel that there are several exorcists in there currently. Lady Leviathan mentioned fallen angels, but there currently are no fallen angels inside, or none that I can currently feel. I groaned as I made my way towards the church. As I am a devil, I cannot go to a church without experiencing some pain. Even though I have grown somewhat resistant to the pain by forcing myself to go to churches to kill fallen angels for Lady Leviathan, it still pains me to some degree. I frowned as I knocked on the giant door to the church. The door creaked open, letting a pulpit and some benches come into view. I walked in as a young person stood in front of the pulpit, smiling a rather creepy smile. I saw the hilt of a light sword sticking out from his robe, but I ignored it as he held a Bible under his armpit as he stared at me. "What can I do for you?" he said in a rather crazed voice. I decided to humor this human before killing him. "Are you a father?" Yes, I am. I am Father Friedi Selzen at your service," he said with a bit of a laugh. "Father, I have a confession to make." I smiled as these words came out of my mouth. "What is it?" "I am ready to listen to your stupid confession." "Forgive me, Father, for I am about to sin," I said, rushing towards him, punching it through his chest. Blood came out of his mouth as the sword dropped from his hand. Wow, this human has good reflexes. Or should I say had. Come out and play exorcists. High-class devil like myself can really help make a name for yourself. That should get their attention. It sure did. I heard footsteps from the stairs behind the pulpit. Soon enough, there were 7 exorcists, each holding a light sword in one hand and a gun in the other. I used Fried's body as a shield from the hail of bullets. If I didn't, those things could really hurt me if they hit cleanly, so I need to prevent that from happening. I ran towards the exorcist on the rightmost side as I dropped freed. The exorcist turned his body towards me, trying to aim his gun at my body. Devil is faster than human, sorry. It feels so good having this damn limiter off, further showing the difference in our speed. I punched him in the face and disarmed his gun with my free hand. I grabbed the stunned exorcist and whirled him around to use as a human shield. With the gun in my right hand and the struggling exorcist in the other, I aimed my gun at the other exorcists. I shot the exorcist closest to me in the head as the rest fired at me. The bullets whizzed past me or hit the shield, killing him. I continued firing as the exorcist's body shielded me from gunfire. I shot 3 other exorcists in the upper chest before the gun became empty. I tossed the exorcist human shield at another exorcist before rushing to the one closest to me. I sidestepped him, punching him in the back of the head. The remaining exorcist couldn't shoot at me as he risks hitting the guy I just punched. The guy I punched fell to the ground, dropping his gun in the process. I dived in for it, avoiding 3 bullets in the process. I rolled for the gun and got it. I aimed the gun at the last exorcist, shooting him in the stomach. He recoiled in pain as I followed up with a kick to the leg, buckling his knee. He fell to the ground, hitting his head on the ground as I heard a thud sound. He's alive, unconscious, but alive. Good. I need him to send a message to the remaining fallen angels. I took out a bullet from a gun I found lying on the ground out of the magazine. It caused me great discomfort, but I managed to get the bullet out. I placed the unconscious exorcist in front of the pulpit. I took the bullet and carved a message for the fallen angels when they get back. Fallen angel ravens, you have something I want. Give the girl to me, and I don't have to kill all of you. Good day from a devil. I smiled as the blood came out of his body, writing my message for me. I turned to the door as I felt familiar presences approaching the church. It is the Citri and Gremory peerages. Damn, my surge of power must have alerted them. I took the limiter from my pocket and placed it around my ankle, limiting the flow of my aura. I teleported out of the church and back to my apartment as the auras converged on the church. Phew, I just managed to escape that one. I took some of the guy's blood and placed a spell on it. Now I know where that exorcist is at all times. If my assumption is correct, he will run back to his fallen angel comrades, and that is where I will kill all of them and hopefully find the girl. Now it is just the waiting game. I went out the door of my apartment and frowned when I saw the person in the hallway. Ria's Gremory, the devil with the peerage in the occult research club. Ah, Miss Gremory, what brings you over to my residence? Seriously, why are you here? You're Issei Hyoudou, right? Captain of the Kendo Club. She asked me as I felt her eyes scan up and down my body. Indeed I am. You still didn't answer my question, I said as she frowned. Ah, so cold. I just wanted to see the person who nearly bested Kiba in a sparring match myself. All right, somewhat reasonable response. And that brought you to my apartment how? I actually am curious, because I felt no one watching me and I couldn't have been tailed here yesterday night. Oh, a girl has her ways, she said with a smile. Huh, she actually is a really beautiful girl when she smiles. Too bad she is related to the fake Satans, otherwise she might have made a good member of my harem. Well, while I don't appreciate you stalking me, I don't have time to dwell on that now as I have to get to school. Mind if I walk with you? Yes, no, let's walk together. I forced out of my mouth painfully. After getting to school, and hearing many of the whispers of Issei and Ria's in a relationship by the numerous girls of the school, I made it to my homeroom class. After, the day itself began normally. I breezed through most of my classes, but in calculus something happened. The spell that put on the exorcist sent feedback to me. Took him long enough. I toned out the lesson and examined his location. The beauty of the spell is that it lets me see everything that the exorcist sees and hears, and gives me his exact location. Okay, it appears that he is in an abandoned warehouse in the industrial section of Kuo. I see 4 fallen angels directly in his view, and a girl tied to a crucifix. The female one with black hair doesn't look too happy. What happened, you idiot? Miss Rainier, I'm sorry, he just took us by surprise. So that fallen is Rainier. Doesn't look too powerful. Who took you by surprise? What happened? She asked as I peered through the eyes of the exorcist. A devil. A strong one. He killed everyone but me and let me live to tell you that he knows of our plans. This sent alarm into the fallen's eyes. All right, no matter. We will be done within the hour and then leave this place for good. Better hurry then. I broke off the spell and then thought of how I could get out of class. I smiled as I thought of the perfect plan. I generated a little fire in the storage room on the first floor. 10 seconds later, ring ring ring. The fire alarm went off. All right class, single file line out the door. The teacher said as everyone hastily got up. I stood in the back of the line as everyone clamored to get out of the building. As all the classes on this floor went to the stairwells, I snuck into the men's bathroom and teleported myself to the exorcist. I startled everyone in the warehouse with my presence and sent them scrambling for weapons. Hello, my name is Issei, and you have something of mine. It's him, the exorcist from yesterday said as he saw my face. Yes, how's it going, friend? You like that tattoo I gave you?" I chuckled as his face twisted with rage, and he brandished a light sword. I grinned as he tried to slash at me, but I simply dodged his attacks. "You've outlived your usefulness," I said, ducking under a swing before punching a hole into his face. His dead body flew towards the ceiling and into the sky, leaving me alone with the 4 fallen angels. "You are very bold to come here by yourself," the lone male said as he materialized a blue light spear. "I can't wait to kill the devil," the lowly said as she created a pink light spear. "You're too late. We've already acquired the sacred gear," the tall woman said as I smiled. "It doesn't matter. I'll kill all of you and then rip it from your body." I knew who had the sacred gear. It was the fallen angel that was talking before. "Rainer, I believe her name is. Don't underestimate us, shitty devil." Rainer chucked a light spear at me. "I don't need to underestimate such weak creatures." I dodged the light spear and glanced at the lone male in the group. "I'll kill him first." I rushed at him, dodging light spears from every direction before punching him in the face. He materialized his wings and I grabbed the black wings, tearing them from his back. "Nice wings." I chuckled as I punched a hole through his chest, killing him. 1 down, 3 women left. "What are you waiting for, Middelt? Get him!" Rainer shouted as I laughed maniacally. "A little fallen angel. Surely you can do better than that." She charged at me with her light spear, to which I sidestepped. I believe that I should show them who they are dealing with. Time to show them my family's power. I parried away the light spear, and then grabbed the fallen angel, spinning her so that she is in front of me like a human shield. "What are you doing? Let go of me." I grinned as she struggled out of my grasp. "You all should really know who you are dealing with." I pushed the girl away, and when she spun to face me, I placed my palm on her head. The girl's eyes and mouth radiated black light as I smote her. "Black penance, you know who I am now." The fallen angels looked at me with terror in their eyes. "The power of black penance. Issei Hyoudou. So you've heard of me. Let's skip pleasantries then. Calawarner, we can kill him. It's 2 against 1. The 2 fallen angels prepared light spears as I smirked. I dodged their torrent of light spears and touched Calawarner's and Rainer's clothes. I haven't done this in years, but dress break. They looked at me confused before their clothes fell off. They both screamed as their wonderful breasts became visible to me. "Focus, Issei. Focus on the mission at hand." "Ha, made you look." I grabbed Calawarner's breast and smote the fallen angel as Rainer covered her breasts. "He perverted devil. I'll kill you." "Yes, I am perverted. Nonetheless, I will still beat you." I smiled as Rainer created a light spear. I jumped out of the spear's range before kicking it out of her hand. I tackled her to the ground, feeling her body as I came on top. "Ready?" I placed my hand on her head as she closed her eyes. I grinned as several seconds went by, and she was still alive. "I am alive. Lucky for you. Lady Leviathan is better at the sacred gear removal than I am, and we can't afford to lose such a valuable sacred gear," I said, knocking her unconscious with 3 well-placed strikes to the head and neck. I glanced at her naked body one more time before slinging her over my shoulder. I teleported myself to Lady Leviathan's safe house with the fallen angel, ready to take what is rightfully ours. Lady Leviathan walked into the room and frowned at me. "Issei, you used dress break, didn't you?" she said, glancing at the bound but naked fallen angel. I sighed and nodded. "Yes, Lady Leviathan. I couldn't help it. I thought we got over your pervertedness years ago." She sighed as I helped her plop up the fallen angel on an operating table. "I have improved. It's true. When I was 17, all I could think about were breasts and ass. 5 years later, I've managed to control my thoughts, but they come out from time to time." "Well, you accomplished the mission, and that is all that matters," she said as I smiled. She then turned attention to the fallen angel and removed the gag from Rainer's mouth. "You won't get away with this. He'll kill you. He'll kill all of you devils." My master looked upset, and so I did what every servant would have done. I slapped Rainer's face and punched her in the stomach. "That wasn't very nice of you to say to my master. You should show more respect to one of the Satans," I said as my master took out a large book and started to flip through the pages. You must be one of those delusional old Satan faction leaders." I punched her in the face and pulled her hair, causing her to scream out. "We don't need disrespect from a fallen angel scum like yourself." "That's enough, Issei. I'll handle her from here," my master said as she leaned into Rainer's face with a sadistic smile. "I love her when she gets angry." "Fallen angel, it has been nice knowing you, but we really need to get that sacred gear out of your filthy body now." I placed the gag back into Rainer's mouth, and then my master started to chant the sacred gear removing spell. "Absconditus lapillus intus, manifestaturus eis te ipsum, et utercanum sint in nobis." Power radiated inside the room as she chanted these words. The fallen angel's body glowed a bright purple and then a faint green as 2 rings materialized over Rainer's stomach. Rainer's screams were muffled by the gag, but then died down. Rainer's aura disappeared as I put my hand on her neck. "She's dead. What beautiful rings," I commented as the rings went on the ring fingers of my master. "You are right, Issei," my master said, observing the rings on her hands with delight. It joys me to bring such pleasure to my master's face. Is there anything else that I should do, my master? I asked Lady Leviathan as she hugged me for some reason. Ah, this feels so good. No, my Issei, that is all for now. But be ready as we will start some big moves in the future. Of course, Lady Leviathan. A few days elapsed after the fallen angel incident. Strangely enough, everything quieted down afterwards. There was no contact from Lady Leviathan in that time frame. Ria's Gremory and her peerage stayed away from me, student council didn't bug me, and kendo club practice was mundane. It was as if a strange peace fell over my life. Nonetheless, I felt an unsettling presence over me. It was like I was being watched. There were times that I felt like I had eyes on me, but when I turned to see them, there was no one there. Unless the Gremory or Citri peerages got drastically better at spying. I must have been dealing with someone else. I put the idea in the back of my head as I trudged on with school and any kendo club practices. It was in the beginning of the week after the fallen angel incident that I was contacted by Lady Leviathan. Issei, Lady Leviathan, I said through the communication portal. I have breaking news. Come to the tertiary hideout. It is absolutely important that we aren't spied or listened upon. Roger that. I teleported myself out of my apartment and into the underworld. Lady Leviathan has a very strict set of guidelines when dealing with the safe houses and hideouts. There are specific sets of instructions that I need to follow to get to the hideout and not be tailed. This includes going around in circles and having to purchase certain goods in certain stores. We have a lot of allies who will alert Lady Leviathan at the first sign of any fake Satan attempt on their life. The tertiary hideout that I am meeting Lady Leviathan in is in the city of Oros, in what is now Agir's territory, but formerly Haborim territory. It is a bunker on the outskirts of the city, and I have to walk through town to go there. The instructions to get to this place are very specific. Walk down Main Street, purchase a burger and fries from Akuma Nato, purchase a wallet from Demon's Dresses and more, and walk through Centurion Park twice. Why the need for this? I have absolutely no idea. After that really long walk and a nice lunch, I made it to the outskirts. There was a small farm less than 5 minutes from the city limits, and that is where the hideout is. I walked to the small red house where the hideout is and knocked on the door twice. Hello, I greeted the woman who answered the door. It is Mollis's Buse, an old, gray-haired woman in a purple dress. That is her current name, but her true name is Annalise Schwarzer, a woman currently on the Underworld's 10 Most Wanted due to her allegiance to us. It's nice to see you, Issei. She smiled at me as I entered her modest home. She quickly shut the door behind her and locked all of the locks on the door. You know where she is. I nodded and made my way through the kitchen of the place to reach the backyard. There is a little shed on the edge of the property and walked into it. It was dark in the shed, but I could see one bale of hay. I pushed the bale and found the hatch underneath. I opened it and hopped into the hole. It was just a flight of stairs until I reached the main room, and there she was. Lady Leviathan, you made it safely. That's good. Yes, so what is the big news? I asked. I managed to locate Crusory. Lord Asmodeus. It has been some time since I saw the Satan, and I assumed that he was executed after being arrested in Lucifot a few years ago. Really, that is big news. Where is he? I asked as Lady Leviathan sighed. He is being held in the Lake of Fire. The Lake of Fire. A place mentioned in the Bible that is actually accurate as it is just a giant lake of fire, measuring about 10 miles in diameter across. On the Lake of Fire, there is a prison called Forai Prison, which is the most secure prison in the underworld, even above Cocytus. It is similar to the prison of Alcatraz in the United States in that the prison is surrounded by a sea and that it is near impossible to escape Forai Prison. The prison itself is heavily guarded by the Black Knights, a highly trained regiment of devils whose sole task in life is to prevent notorious high-risk prisoners from escaping back into the underworld. On top of that, the Lake of Fire is patrolled by the Underworld Navy, specifically the Western Fleet, and their detachment of Devil Marine Force Reconnaissance. And I can't simply just teleport in and out with him as there is a special barrier that prevents teleportation in and out of the prison. Trust me, we've tried many times to break into the prison, and we are going to break him out. I dreaded asking, but I already knew the answer. Of course, Shalba has agreed to the plan, and has paid off a guard there already. He has supplied me with the plans of the prison, shift changes, and general protocol, but what? I dreaded what she was going to say next. But we don't actually know where Crusory is being held. It is now up to you to free Crusory. Wonderful. So I have to evade the Western Fleet's constant patrols, land on the island, get past the Black Knights, find Asmodeus, and leave the island with him. I looked at the dingy canoe in front of me. The entire lake of fire was obscured by a thick haze of smoke that comes from the fire, so the patrols can't see me, but I can't see them until they are very close. I looked at my 2 companions for this trip, Matsuda and Madohoma. They are childhood friends of mine, and loyal to the true Satans as well. They are extremely trustworthy and skilled devils, so that is why Lady Leviathan assigned them to my command for this mission. 3 is better than 1, no. I sat at the head of the head as Matsuda and Madohoma got in behind me. Matsuda and Madohoma rowed using oars, and we proceed to the prison in the dead center of the lake. That damned prison guard didn't tell us the movements of the Navy, so we just have to hope that we don't run into any patrol boats, or we will have to kill them and head on our way. The pace of the rowing was far faster than that of a human's, but the distance that we travel is much farther than what humans have to do. It was aggravating to not have the ability to use magic to propel us forward, but that might have given away our presence to any patrol boats in the area. It took us 10 minutes to row into a dangerous situation. We encountered a Predator-class patrol boat manned by 2 Marines. We managed to stop them before they saw us, and we immediately silenced them. Madohoma, Matsuda, you need to go there. They might get suspicious if there is no contact from the boat. My 2 friends nodded at my suggestion. The boat moved closer to the patrol boat, and my 2 friends went over to the patrol boat, which was much faster than mine. Put on the uniforms. I'll contact you when Lord Asmodeus is rescued. Until then, patrol around and don't look suspicious. Roger that. Good luck, my 2 friends said as I pushed off with an oar. I used both oars to push myself to the prison. There was surprisingly little trouble the second half of the way there, and I soon landed on the island prison's shoreline. The island itself is flat, with no changes in elevation, and that is bad for me as there is no place for me to hide. The prison is surrounded by a massive wall, which I rushed to in order to avoid the guards in the watchtowers. I memorized the layout of the prison from the plans that the guard gave us. The prison is essentially 2 circular walls, each enclosing the prison further. One wall is to keep beings out, and the other is to keep the prisoners in. There are watchtowers every 30 meters, 2 guards per tower. There are 2-man devil patrols constantly throughout the island, and a chain-link fence as the final layer before the actual prison building. I laid down my duffel bag and unzipped it, pulling out copied Black Knight prison guard uniform. I stripped out of the jumpsuit I am in, and put the uniform on as quickly as I could. I slipped the rest of the items I had in the bag into pockets of the prison guard uniform. I looked at my watch to see how much time I have to work. 10:25. All right, shift change in 5 minutes. I can get into the prison during the brief period when everyone is getting relieved from duty. I scaled my way up the wall and entered the walkway of the wall. From here, I see the distant second wall and the gate straight to the prison right near me. Interesting. There appears to be a new shipment of prisoners coming in today. That is the perfect cover. I walked down the stairs to the first level, where there are 12 prisoners lined up in 2 lines. I walked with the prisoners and guards past the gate of the inner wall, and through the chain-link fence as the prison building came into view. I walked through the front door of the building and saw a magnificently decorated lobby. Nice taste. I followed the group of prisoners before walking down a nearby corridor. All right, from what the guard told us of the inside, there are 5 wards inside this building. There is the administrative ward, the infirmary ward, the prisoner's mess hall ward, the staff's mess hall ward, and prisoner lodgings. I am currently in the administrative ward, which is good as I'm sure that I can find the information as to where Lord Asmodeus is being held in this ward. I looked down at the ground as I passed other guards as I searched for a room that might have records. Something like the main office must have something like files on the prisoners. I searched for the signs as I walked around in circles before catching sight of the room labeled Record Room at the end of the hallway. I glanced behind me, making sure that no one was following me or saw what I was doing. I took out a lockpick and jimmied open the door. I slid into the room, closing the door behind me silently. There is an empty desk at the end of the room with file cabinets on either side. Let's see what's here. Personnel files, general ordinances, Devil Institute laws and regulations. Ah, here it is. Inmate files. I opened the cabinet and looked through the labeled folders for Asmodeus. It was easy as the files were alphabetically organized. The first thing in his file was this, a police record of him. Name, Crucery Asmodeus. Date of birth, June 6, 1986. Sex, male. Species, devil. Place of birth, exact location unknown. Assumed to be Nazarene, Gamijan territory, underworld. Height, 188 centimeters. Weight, 97 kilograms. Crimes, conspiracy to overthrow the government, murder, arson, theft, treason, and assault. Notes, prisoner is extremely dangerous. Isolate prisoner within confined ward to avoid conflict with other prisoners. Made repeated escape attempts from Caucasus and Rame prison. All right, not relevant to what I am doing. What else is here? Medical files. Request to move to general populace. Ah, here it is. Location, prisoners' lodgings. Male ward, cell block D, cell number 66 Fahrenheit. Alright, got a location. I placed everything back where it was and glanced at my watch. 10:58. Good, another shift change is coming. I crept out the room and made it down to the male ward of the prisoner's lodgings. At the stairs, it showed the cell block to be going down from A to D, so he must be on the bottom of the stairs. I rushed down to the D cell block and saw 2 patrolling guards turn the corner. I see dungeons upon dungeons as I made my way the cell block, which is a long straight set of cells before reaching the corner. None of the dungeons contained Lord Asmodeus, so I need to look further. I peeked my head out, seeing those 2 guards come back towards me. I readied my baton and knife as they inched closer by. I spun out, taking them by surprise by hitting one in the head with the baton and stabbing the other with the knife in the head. I frantically searched the bodies as the prisoners around me yelled and hollered, happy that I killed the guards. I searched the bodies of the guards and found a set of keys on them. I took them and made my way to the cell label 66 Fahrenheit, and there he was, Lord Asmodeus, sitting disheveled and unkempt, but alive. Lord Asmodeus, I said respectfully, kneeling on one knee before him. I saw him squint his eyes and stand up when I said his name. Issei, yes, my lord. Lady Leviathan has sent me here to set you free. I saw his face widen with a big smile at this. I knew Katerea would come for me. Release me. I nodded, jumbling the keys to find the one that would open his cell. I found it and released the Satan from his cell. How do we get out of here? He asked me as I heard an alarm blare out. What is that? An infiltrator has been discovered on the island. All guards execute Ordinance 9932. The pause system blared out as I started to panic. What is that? I said, thinking of contingency plans on the spot. It's a lockdown measure. Prevent anyone from coming in and out while making sure all the prisoners are in their cells. All right, that is doable. I thought of a good plan. Put on one of those guards' uniform. I'll open up these cells to release the prisoners and we'll escape in the chaos. He nodded and rushed towards the dead guards as I started opening up cells. The prisoners ran out as he put on the uniform. I managed to free everyone in this cell block as he put everything on, so there are over 100 prisoners on the loose. You lead, he said as we followed the wave of prisoners to the top of the stairs. It is a few hundred meters to the entrance of the administrative ward. We will go out from there, scale the walls, and make it to the raft. From there, we will teleport out. All right, let's go. I nodded and we made our way through the chaos of the prison break. Everywhere we went, we saw guards fighting prisoners. In the infirmary ward, we saw a group of prisoners overpower the guards and kill them. More guards. One of them, a tall tattooed one with a broken glass bottle, shouted at us. Crap. I took out my baton and knife as Lord Asmodeus wielded 2 batons. We beat the prisoners down and made it past them and outside into the recreation yard. What I saw surprised me. A group of prisoners wielding a makeshift battering ram tried to break down the second wall after somehow getting through the chain link fence. The guards on the watchtower are shooting at those prisoners, who died as a small hole opened up in the wall. There, Lord Asmodeus pointed to the wall. I nodded and rushed towards the hole in the wall. I knew that the guards were still up there, so I pretended to look at the corpses on the ground as the outer wall stood in front of us. I saw the gate out of the corner of my eye, and nudged Lord Asmodeus there. We kept our eyes down as we approached the gate. What is your purpose for leaving? The guard to my right asked me. There are 2 guards currently manning the gate. We need to make sure that no prisoners escape to the outside during the riot. Warden's orders, Asmodeus said as I noticed the 2 guards stare at each other before nodding. Okay, open the gate. The first one shouted as the gates opened. Lord Asmodeus and I just walked out of the prison and started sprinting. The guards started shooting at us, but the bullets missed us. We made it to the canoe and started to paddle as fast as we could. The anti-teleportation barrier on the island is still strong enough to prevent us from teleporting, so we need to be a bit further away from the island. Damn, my arms are getting tired and I still feel the force of the barrier, which is getting weaker. There is a patrol boat approaching us as I paddled faster. That is weird. Why is the patrol boat smoking? A smile appeared on my face as I saw who was manning the patrol boat. Matsuda, Motohoma. You scared me for a bit. Lord Asmodeus, Motohoma said as they both bowed. Yeah, we ran into trouble as we passed another boat. They saw through our disguise and we had to kill them, but they managed to get in a distress call in. Yeah, that made the escape much harder thanks to you. I joked after Lord Asmodeus got into the patrol boat, and I followed shortly after. All right, drive out of range of the barrier. Motohoma nodded and we drove for a few hundred meters before I felt the barrier's effect become nothing. All right, let's teleport. I summoned a magic circle to take us all back the location where Lady Leviathan is. I teleported there and saw her facing us with a giant smile. Frusery, Katerea. The Satans hugged as I smiled. We did it. We are one step closer to saving the underworld. Where are we with our forces? Lord Asmodeus asked Lady Leviathan as I stood in the room. We have mobilized our supporters, but they are currently spread out throughout the underworld. It will take time to gather all our forces in one place without drawing suspicion and attention. Lord Asmodeus nodded at this, and then looked at me. He is one of your most trustworthy men. He asked of Lady Leviathan regarding me. I would trust him with my life. Lord Asmodeus smiled at this. Perhaps we should look into alternate sources of manpower. What do you mean? Lady Leviathan asked him with a confused look on her face. Beside devils, monsters are often very loosely organized, and the disappearance of a coven of vampires and a nest of werewolves will fly under the radar, but they will swell our army. You know I don't like going out of house for our forces. Too many variables when dealing with outsiders. My master looks worried at the thought of having outsiders in our forces. It's understandable as they are liabilities to us pure devils. I know that there are risks, Katerea, but we need to use the monsters. They will prove to be a valuable asset to us. My master pondered this and then sighed. Good, Issei. I'm putting you in charge of gathering forces from the various pantheons of mythology. I nodded at this. About how many should I get into our army? I asked as I wondered what big target we are going to use these forces to attack. The size and importance of the place will dictate the amount of forces necessary to conquer the place. At least 1,000. If you can find more, great. Crusoe said as I thought about this. What about strays? My master and Lord Asmodeus made a sour face at this. They stared at each other before nodding. They are simply means to an end. Take them in. My master said. When should I have this army assembled by? I asked. Lady Leviathan whispered something into Lord Asmodeus's ear, and he glanced at me and nodded. Next Tuesday. Okay, 5 days then. Let's do this. I smiled as I entered a shady strip club in the heart of Paris' red light district. Normally I'd be in Japan due to school, but I called in sick with a very bad case of the flu. It should cover me from suspicion from the Grimoire or Citri heiresses as to why I am absent from school during the gathering of the army. Intelligence reported that this club is the location of a nest of sirens. Sirens are female-only monsters that lure men to their deaths by charming and then eating them. What could be a better cover than a shady strip club, where the dead men won't have anyone looking for them? I took a seat at a table, and it wasn't long before I was approached by a siren. She was a beautiful person, creamy white skin, black eyes, and black hair with a charming smile that would melt many men's heart. Not mine though. Want to have a good time? She asked me in French. I nodded and followed her into a private room on the second floor. I sat down on the seat as she locked the door behind her. Her face was less than a foot away from my face as she smiled. Her black eyes flared a bright pink for a second. That is their way of charming men. Not going to work, siren. I leaped out of my seat and punched her in the face, sending her crashing through a wall into the main room. I heard the music outside stop as I left the room. The strippers went off their poles and have surrounded me. There are currently 9 angry siren strippers in front of me. You shouldn't have come here, devil. The one who addressed me stepped forward, and she is wearing a slutty nurse outfit for some reason. You must be the leader. I have an offer to make you sirens. A look of confusion appeared on the slutty nurse. What kind of offer? She asked hesitatingly. Here's the deal. You will be part of my army, or I will kill all of you right here on the spot. You know the differences in our power. Save yourself a bloodbath. Sirens aren't magical creatures and can't cast teleportation spells, so they can't escape me. Sirens are weak compared to devils, so even though I am outnumbered, I can take them all down without much effort. The leader gritted her teeth as she looked at the other siren strippers. Fine, she pushed out of her mouth painfully. Good. Don't even think about trying to go back on our agreement. I've cast a tracking spell on all of you. You try to run, I will torture and then kill you, I said with a smile as I made my way to the door. The semicircle of strippers parted like the Red Sea for me as I kept eye contact with them. By the way, sorry about the mess. I smiled as I heard footsteps to my back. I am currently in Crete, the ancient city of Knossos to be specific. I am in the underground labyrinth, the same labyrinth that Theseus killed the Minotaur in. That's where the myth becomes fiction though. Theseus killed a Minotaur, but there were others that resided there. They bred, and right now, I am facing some of their descendants. Specifically, I am facing the leader of the pack that resides here, with the rest of the pack surrounding us in a circle. You devil think you can beat me? It roared as I smiled. I know I can beat you, then I'll command your herd. It snarled at me, charging at me with the massive axe. I dodged the blow and punched the Minotaur in the stomach before kicking it in the right leg. That stunned it, causing the Minotaur to fly into a rage and try to gore me to death with the horns on its head. I sidestepped the charge and punched the Minotaur in the back. I jumped on the Minotaur's back and repeatedly punched the Minotaur in the back of the head. The Minotaur struggled to buck me off its back as I continued punching it in the back of the head. I grabbed one of the Minotaur's horns and snapped it off as it cried out in pain. Before jamming it in the back of the head, the Minotaur slumped over as I got off it. I just killed the pack leader, causing an eerie silence to come over the place. I looked around to see the other minotaurs, to see if they would attack me. There were 30 or so minotaurs gathered around me, each with a different expression on its face. I killed your leader, you will follow me now or die. No one moved after I declared this, until one minotaur bowed down to me, and then another. All of them started to bow until everyone around me was bowing. Ah, it is good being the pack leader of minotaurs. With my European tour done, I decided to go to Asia to recruit some yokai. One of our contacts managed to set up a meeting with a very powerful yokai leader, and that is where I am now. I tapped my foot in this abandoned warehouse in the middle of the night as I waited for my contact's yokai leader. I am in Shuri, Okinawa, and my contact is the leader of all the yokai in the local area. I felt a sudden temperature increase as flames materialized in front of me. The person currently in front of me is Inari, a male kitsune in a business suit and tie. He is in his late 40s in appearance and has 2 bodyguards with him, both also in suits. He has slicked back gray hair, pitch black eyes, and is smoking a cigar. Very mobster-like in his appearance. His strength is something that is radiating from his body. At least high class in power. I must tread carefully with this person. Issei, is it? You are the envoy from the old Satan faction, he said after taking a puff from his cigar. I grimaced when he said old. Technically, yes. I heard about your situation from Associate. Do tell, is that what you want to do? The situation I'm talking about is an unfortunate situation with a devil and a few necromancies under his care. Some of these nobles in our society feel that having a title gives you the right to do anything that you want to do. The noble in question is a member of the Dantalian clan, and he raped a few necromancies while he was here. Inari heard about it and killed the noble, provoking an angry reaction from the clan and the underworld government in general. The entire situation is ridiculous overall. Why mate with a necromancy in the first place? That type of crossbreeding will not be allowed when we are back in power. One of your so-called nobles raped and tried to murder a few of our people, and you call that a situation? His power flared as I frowned. And that will not happen if you agree to our offer. What offer? He narrowed his eyes as I thought of my response. We require you and your constituents to fight in our army. Once we topple the current government, we will withdraw all devils from the face of the earth, prevent any unfortunate situations like this happening again. From what I have heard, there are more than 200 yokai under his rule, all from varying species, so he will be a welcome addition to our army. He looks shocked at the offer and quickly nods. I offer my hand out and we shake on it. Looks like you just made a deal with the devil. I decided to make a trip to Kuo to investigate rumors of a stray in the area. If the rumors are true, this proves that we were right about reincarnating other species into our ranks. This particular stray is called Visor, and she killed a noble, then started killing humans for food. The killing humans part doesn't bother me, but it is the attention that this stray is bring to us that bothers me. Matsuda and Motohoma have already traced the stray to an abandoned warehouse just outside of town, and I am with them right now. Keep the barrier up, I said to my friends. We can't have the stray teleport out of here, can we? I kicked in the door and was immediately greeted with the smell of decaying bodies. There are numerous human bodies hanging upside down from the ceiling. The smell got stronger as I entered the warehouse. You smell absolutely wonderful. Are you sweet or sour? I frowned as I saw the source of these words. It's an ugly, disgraceful stray taking up my precious air. Stray, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to enslave you like the dog you are. Her face twisted sadistically as she charged me, firing acid from her breasts, which are rather large and wonderful. That is a first. I frowned, dodging the squirts of acid as I waded in. She tried to slash me with her spears, to which I ducked underneath. I punched her in the breast and then chopped her in the neck. I jumped back as she screamed in pain, grabbing her neck. What did you do to me? I placed the crest on you. My palm had my family's crest on it, and it is now on her neck. The crest is a spell that takes the form of a mark. We've used it for generations to brand our slaves and to ensure their complete loyalty to us. The spell takes away the slaves' will to resist and makes them completely obedient within minutes. My work here is done. I ran out of the warehouse as Matsuda and Motohoma looked into the warehouse. Make sure she doesn't kill herself. Bring her back to the safe house and completely tie her up and use a magical barrier. All right, one stray is in the army. It is the night before Tuesday, and Lord Asmodeus will be expecting his army tomorrow. This is the final stop for my Gather the Army tour. I'm on the Asian mainland this night, specifically in China. I was thinking as to what else the army needed. We have minotaurs, sirens, various yokai, but we were missing zombies and ghosts. That brings me to an empty field outside Xianyang, China. This was the site of one of the numerous battles between the Song dynasty and the Mongols, and with battle comes death. Many civilians and soldiers were massacred before, during, and after the battle, so they are great candidates for ghosts as most are extremely vengeful. I looked at the night sky and back down to the ground. I already cast a rune through the area, and am ready to begin now. There will be 5 separate spells, each intertwining with the rest. One spell will see how many bodies are there in the ground. The next spell will see how much spiritual energy this place has. The higher the amount, the larger the amount of spirits there are, or the more powerful the spirits are. The third and fourth spells will raise the spirits and zombies respectively. And the fifth and final one is the most important one. This is the spell to bind the spirits and zombies to me, otherwise they would run amok in the world. Lucky for me that I am a natural spellcaster, otherwise this would take a lot of power out of me. O tellus, dic sub qualitat, non possunt equi in te videbiter. Wow, there are thousands of well-preserved corpses here. Some of them are dressed in military wear with arms beside them. Fidelis calum, dic mihi, qui ego autem non potus sentire. Ostendite mihi potestas esset. Okay, pretty substantial power. Hundreds of different spirits, many of them not particularly powerful, but there are 5 who are quite strong. Perturbebant populum, id quad olim. Consurge, et cessidet, perpetuo permanebunt. I see them, faintly rising from the ground. Their gray auras flicker into the night sky. I smiled as they hit the top of the invisible ceiling set by the magical rune I have over the area. Can't go anywhere. Sorry, sanctus ossa, et susciter vires conveniunt. Ex vobis os, et os adjus coram me sicut too. They're all coming up from the ground, bony fingers reaching up from the ground, overturning the dirt as they struggle to get free. There are thousands of them, dressed in whatever they died in all those years ago. Some have armor drooping off their skeletons, others are just bare skeletons. They'll do though. Et submitite voluntatem mihi, fiat cor, corpus et anima est unicum magistro. I smiled as I felt all of them linked to me. It's something you can't imagine. All of these spirits inside you, their hopes, dreams, rushing through your very being. It's not good. I can feel their hatred trying to take over within me, try to change who I am. I knew this would happen. I grabbed the pendant from my pocket and firmly grasped it in my hand. This pendant was the property of Theophilus of Adana, and was used to bind many powerful creatures in it. It can be used to better manage the spirits roaming within my conscious. O sacred pentagram of fallen humanity, allow for the twisting of life, the mixing of truth, O sacred locket of the night sky. I feel all of the spirits slowly slipping into the pendant, which I placed around my neck like a necklace. I still feel the link between me and the spirits, and I'm sure I can influence the spirits and zombies. Still need to make sure though. Attack. The spirits flew out and the zombies moved towards the direction that I thought of. Good. It works. How is the army? Lord Asmodeus asked as I appeared in the hideout the next morning. Very good. I've assembled a pack of minotaurs, a group of sirens, various yokai, zombies, spirits, and a stray. Lord Asmodeus smiled and placed his arm around my shoulder. I'm proud of you, as am I, my master said as she walked into the room. Lord Asmodeus walked to Lady Leviathan and nodded at her. Issei, we are going to launch a massive attack with your army and our forces. This is going to be the first step in taking back Hell and creating a better future for us devils. When and where? I smiled at the thought of being part of history and making my master proud. Lady Leviathan unfurled a sly smile, making her more beautiful than usual. Kuo Academy. This Friday, which is classroom observation day. The fake Satans will be there visiting the heiresses, and we will strike them and kill them all. I smiled at these words. This is the first step to saving the underworld. It is Thursday night, the day before we will rid the underworld of their tyrants and help restore the true rulers of the underworld. I am currently seated at the table with my master, Lord Asmodeus, and Lord Beelzebub. This is a meeting to discuss strategy with the true rulers of Hell, as they have given me a seat at the table to voice my opinion. So the first strike shall be the wave of magicians under my control. Shalba, will your battle group of loyalists be ready to strike at the heart of Lilith? My master said. The attack on Kuo Academy isn't just one attack. It is the beginning of a series of attacks throughout the underworld. And the only target on Earth is here. From what they have told me so far, there will be attacks on key government positions Agrias, Lucifad, Lilith, Cocytus, and Mon, especially with Lilith being the center of power for the fake Satans. If we manage to catch the 2 remaining fake Satans here, it can really disrupt the possibility for reinforcements at Kuo. Yes, we've massed the forces in and around Lilith. They are in sleeper cell units throughout the city itself, but the main force is concentrated in the dense forest area outside the city. At my command, thousands of loyalists will be in prime position to take over key positions within the city. My master nodded and looked at Lord Asmodeus. Crusory, how are the movements of the fallen angels? Do they, or anyone else appear to have caught wind of our plans? Lord Asmodeus shook his head. Communications have been normal. Nothing indicates that they have detected our massing of forces. Same goes for the yokai and other groups of monsters. They don't know what we are going to do. My master nodded and then looked at me. Issei, Crusory, where will you be at the start of the mission? My master said to us. She mentioned our starting positions earlier, so she is making sure that I listened to her. I will be at the 5th pillar, and before the school clock chimes at 12 noon, you will come in, and then I will erect the barrier, sealing everyone in and preventing escape. That is my position, as Lady Leviathan said. My task is to erect a barrier that prevents the devils inside from leaving and also preventing enemy reinforcements in. I nodded as my master smiled at me. Good Issei. Crucery, on the opposite side of Kuo Academy. You are on the north side, I'll be on the south side with an army that Issei assembled. My master smiled at this. The underworld will soon be ours. The bell rung and I got up from my seat. It is 6th period and right now I have my lunch period. I stared at the clock to see what time is it and how much longer to the operation start. 11:20, 40 minutes to work. I walked in the sea of people and made my way outside. I walked past the tennis courts and hid behind a tree near the gate wall of Kuo Academy. I laid my backpack on the ground and unzipped it. I took out the 6 bowls, but that isn't what is important. There are very special items in my bag today. There are 5 bottles of pure devil blood courtesy of Lord Beelzebub, 5 crushed snake heads, 6 head hairs from a pale horse, and 5 stones from the Towel of Babel. Master said it wasn't easy to get these items, but boy are they worth it. These are components for a spell to erect a very powerful barrier. The spell is very powerful and only a select few know about it, as the spell is written in very obscure spell books. I need to mix up the one of each of the ingredients at 5 places. The 5 places must be in the shape of a pentagram, and after mixing the ingredients and burying them at each point, I need to recite a special Enochian incarnation at each point for the spell to work. After doing this at 4 points, at the top of the pentagram, I will mix the ingredients, but add an extra horsehair at this location. After reciting the incarnation, the very ground will tremble and pillars of pure power will shoot up into the sky and connect with each other, forming an indestructible barrier that no one can escape from. I took a bottle of blood and poured it onto the bowl. I then mashed the snake head in my hand before placing it into the bowl. I then took a horsehair from the Ziploc bag and placed it on top the snake head. Lastly, I placed a stone on the bowl. The ingredients must be placed in this order, otherwise the spell won't work. I set the bowl aside and started digging with my hands. I dug a hole about 6 inches deep and placed the bowl into the hole before covering it up. The incarnation is broken into 5 pieces for the 5 pillars, and they need to be spoken in a specific order. Ori de Ilaparegi Torzidu Aguls. Enochian, such a pain in the ass to memorize and recite. The mound of dirt over the bowl become a bright red for a moment before dissipating. I checked my watch to make sure that I have enough time to get from place to place and recite the incarnations. 11:25. Plenty of time. I walked to the next location, the woods beyond the baseball field. I stuck close to the wall of the academy so that no one would see me and be suspicious about me. That is the last thing I need right now. I found a nice spot to place the bowl in the woods. I mixed the ingredients in the bowl and dug a hole the same size as last time. Ori de Zili de Zakar Irma Yugur de Dar Lapas Anchimepai. A bluish color shined and then faded after a few seconds. 2 down, 3 to go. I glanced down to see the time that I have remaining. 11:35. 25 minutes. That's doable. I crept along the wall to the second set of woods much more cautiously than I did before. These woods are located near the old school building, the headquarters for the Gremory heiress and her peerage of months. All of them currently should be in the main building, posing in pictures, or just otherwise looking happy and impressive for the parents that have come today. Sadly, many of them will be causalities in the massacre today. What a shame. I went towards the back of the woods, as far away from the old school building's view, and started working. I did the same procedure and buried the bowl before covering it back up. Ori de Ozadonaganu Hamzoda Amadaratsa Makaltso Ni Napia. A sudden gust of wind blew by me as I got up. I glanced down to see what time is it. 11:42. All right, 2 more in 18 minutes. I walked in a straight path towards the training hall, and made it there with no one in sight of me. Lunch is almost over, so I guess everyone has started to return to the main building. I repeated the same process before I said the 4th incarnation. Ori de Kayaska, Nolanua Michaelazodo LL Sansananu. The dirt turned pitch black before fading to its normal brown. All right, 1 left. I glanced down at my watch. 10 minutes to noon. 10 minutes to when the magic happens. I jogged to the front of the gate. There were a few people out and about, but no one seriously looked at me or what I was doing. I placed down my bag and established a telepathic link with my master. The barrier is almost up. 2 minutes to completion. Are the forces in place? I telepathically asked as I turned my face towards the gate of the academy and crouched down towards the back. Yes, all of our forces are in place. 10 seconds noon. We will all come in. Make sure your watch is synchronized. It's been synchronized since yesterday. You did it yourself. Of course. I broke off communications and glanced at my watch. 11:58, 42 seconds. I mixed up the ingredients in the bowl and found a small bush nearby. I heard some whispers from other people, but ignored them to focus on the task. I buried the bowl and covered it up as I stood back up. 11:59, 47 seconds, 47, 48, 49, 50. They're here. 58, 59, 60. Odd Sinksir. Pale perturbs Argehalana Adagita Quezaba Anigelirdo. The ground quaked as 5 pillars of pure energy shot into the sky. I stood in awe as the 5 pillars crashed together over the gymnasium to form a 5-sided pyramid. Issei, my master said in front of me as hundreds of cloaked figures walked behind her. Yes, I asked as she smiled. Here, you will need this. She opened the lid of a jar with a snake inside of it. Is that what I think it is? Indeed it is, Issei. It is yours. It's Off-Eye's snake. I took the snake out of the jar and swallowed it whole. Wow, I feel the power racing through my body. We all have them, Issei. Now let's go and kill those fake Satans. Yes, let's go save the underworld. So how do you feel? My master asked me as she handed me an earpiece. I put the earpiece in as static was heard before the sound turned into Lord Beelzebub's voice. I feel great. What is the earpiece for though? I asked as I flexed muscles throughout my body. Power is just surging through every vein in my body and it feels absolutely euphoric. This is to update us on the status of Shalba's mission. I nodded as I surveyed the area. My master then looked on me with a stern face. Issei, it is your duty to protect this pillar. Without it, the barrier will fail and they will escape. I nodded. I understand. I will guard it with my life. I was telling the truth. I am prepared to die for my cause. They must not be allowed to escape here or our efforts shall be in vain. Good, my Issei, my master said to me as she led the group of devils and yokai against the school. The group sprinted into the school building as the static in my earpiece flattened to a normal sound. Commence operation. Lord Beelzebub's voice resounded through my earpiece. Hey, who are? The sound of magic spells being fired was deafening in the earpiece. Power up the amplifier. Kaluzan, switch to frequency 105.2. The sound of keys clicking and devils moving around were heard in the earpiece afterwards. Are we up? Lord Asmodeus asked. Yes, all of the underworld is tuned in. Someone else said. Attention, this is your true ruler speaking. I, Shalba Beelzebub, and the rest of the true Satans have begun the offensive to liberate the underworld from the tyrants that currently control it. As we speak, our loyal and brave forces are fighting the traitors everywhere they are, and will not stop until the blood of every single false ruler flows through the streets of Lilith like a mighty river. Do not fear, we will bring the underworld back to its former glory, and we will restore the pride we have as devils. This is the dawn of a new era, a paradise for all devil kind. Please join us in overthrowing the tyrants and destroying the chains that are holding us back. Join and fight for the rightful rulers of hell, and bring the underworld to a new era of prosperity and greatness. Very well said, Lord Asmodeus. The connection broke off. Static sounded within the earpiece again. The fighting has started. Wait, how is that possible? Our forces are being pushed back. I cannot believe my eyes. Our yokai and devil forces are being blasted out of windows. All the windows have shattered with the burnt bodies of our forces going through the remains of the windows. Issei, my master's voice telepathically bounced around in my head. What happened? I said back urgently. These bastards are repelling our attacks. Our forces cannot get through the hallways to overwhelm them with our numbers, and they are getting torn to shreds here. I've ordered a retreat of our forces from the school building. I need you to move to Plan B in 20 seconds. I looked at my watch as I contemplated Plan B. Plan B, destroying the building with a spell that will rain down meteors on it. But our people are still inside. Shouldn't we wait until they all evacuate? No, Master said this, and her orders are absolute. I sighed as the timer ticked down to 0. 20 seconds are up. Rex Magnus Ean Lapides, cum to Calo Pluvia Grandis. With that said, the ground quaked as thousands of flaming stones rained down from the sky onto the school building. The force of the stones created a dust screen that I can't see through. I feel that my master and the remainder of our forces are heading in my direction. I cast a simple wind spell to clear the dust and can't believe what I am seeing. They're fine. All of them are underneath a protective barrier. Lord Gremory, the fake Satans, the 2 heiresses and their peerages, and her. Lord Lucifuge's sister, the traitorous one who married into the Gremory. Grafia Lucifuge Gremory, the strongest queen, and traitor to the true Satans. The barrier disappeared as those in the circle took up defensive positions. Some of the students look shocked that I am here. Oyama, Saji, and Kiba shouted. I cracked a smile at this as I joined Lord Asmodeus and Lady Leviathan's side. You actually believe that? I knew you were stupid, but I never thought you were that stupid. I chuckled as they gritted their teeth. The fake Satan Lucifer stepped forward with a gentle smile on his face. That bastard, stealing the crown from Lord Rysvim. Issei Hyoudou, is it? He said to me. Of course, it is I. His smile wavered a little bit at this, but soon returned. Of course, the Hyoudou clan was fanatically loyal to the old Satan faction. Shame, your family was a very good clan. Very powerful. We are, and we will regain our status after killing you, I said as he frowned ever so slightly after sighing. Is that so? Shame, we could have avoided all of this bloodshed. Stop talking shit and die already, Crusoe said. He launched a massive surge of energy at our enemies. The fake Lucifer looked at his father and nodded. Ice sculptures blocked the massive surge of energy and caused the sculptures to explode. Curse the fake Leviathan. Her ice powers are well known as a thorn in our side. What are you standing around for? Surround them and attack. Lady Leviathan shouted at our forces. Cries of victory resounded as the forces encircled the enemy. Rex Magnus in Lapides, ut cum de Calo Pluvia Grandis. I chanted as thousands of flaming stones rained down from the skies. The enemy has to deal with attacks from the sky and the air now. The traitor queen has taken to the skies and is now destroying the stones. Over here. I barely dodged as the sword flew in front of my face. I turned to see my attacker, Issei Hyoudou. I smiled as I materialized 2 kayakin, which are Japanese daggers, and held them in reverse grip. Rematch time. I smiled as we clashed. His slashes and thrusts are very quick, but I managed to dodge all of them. I got in close and tried an upward slice with one of the swords, but he managed to get out of the way. I was going lightly at the kendo club. You are witnessing my true power, I said as he tried to veer to the right, and then came back at me from the left. I parried away his sword by knocking into his wrist and slashing it with one of the kayakin. He jumped back and grabbed his wrist. He cringed in pain before looking at me with a hateful glance, to which I smiled. I jumped up and opened my wings as I felt tremors in the earth. A split second later, dozens of swords sprouted from the ground. Sword birth. Now this is getting interesting. I descended back to the ground as he picked up a demonic sword and rushed at me. I carefully watched Kiba, but I also noticed a blur from the corner of my left eye. The blur jumped and aimed a kick at me. Kaneko, welcome to the party. I dodged the jump kick and Kiba's thrusting attack. Kaneko stood in front of Kiba as she came at me in boxing stance. She threw 2 jabs at me, to which I parried with my forearms. Damn, this girl punches hard. I guess that comes with being a slave rook. 2 versus 1, this isn't fair. I smiled as I began to focus my internal energy to certain parts of my body, with Off-Ice's power running through my body. This process is absolutely orgasmic as I feel surges of energy all throughout my body. Senjutsu? She asked alarmed, to which I grinned at her. Yes, I'm proficient in Senjutsu as you are, Nekomata. Her expression turned dark as I rushed at the 2 with great speed. I sidestepped Kaneko's cross and tried to slice her stomach with my blades. The blades nicked her skin, but she showed no emotion. She might be fine now, but in a few minutes she will be in serious trouble. I turned to dodge a slash from Kiba that would have taken my head clean off if I didn't dodge it. I jumped back so that I have both Kaneko and Kiba in my sight. Both of them rushed at me, Kaneko with a flurry of punches and Kiba with a thrust of his sword. I rushed at Kiba, ducking the swing of his sword. I got within his range and stomped on his foot. That distracted him so that I could slash at his face with my dagger. The dagger opened up a cut on his face, but that is only the distraction. My other dagger is aimed at his stomach, and it hit. I pushed the dagger into his stomach as he coughed up blood. Arg! I was punched in the back, pushing me and Kiba into the ground. Kiba fell into the ground with me on top. I smiled as I rolled out and back to my feet. Kaneko's eyes widened as she saw Kiba on the ground. You killed him, you caused me to stab him. She started shaking as her expression became hidden from me. YUK killed Senpai. A burst of rage and energy was emitted from her, catching me off guard for a moment. Good, let the rage take over. She rushed at me even faster as I struggled to keep track of her strikes. Arg! She punched me in the stomach as I materialized another dagger. I crossed my arms over my body with the blade still in reverse as I watched her. That's right. Fight angry. You'll be sloppier. He was weak. He deserved to die. He was just a stray. She rushed at me even faster and even more violently than before when she heard stray. She was a stray, so it'd strike a sensitive nerve. I charged at her, throwing one dagger at her to which she dodged. I reversed the grip of my remaining blade as I threw a front kick. The kick hit her in the face, but she kept charging forward with a torrent of punches. She punched me in the face, to which I frowned. All right, enough of these games. I redirected her follow-up punch and managed to get around her. I grabbed her small body from behind and began to stab her in the back repeatedly. I smiled as I felt something resist the blade. The blade hit something hard in the lower back. She stopped struggling after that. It appears that I have severed her spinal cord. That should do the trick. A fitting end for a stray. Kaneko, an anguished female voice said. I smiled as I turned around. Ria's Gremory, crying out as I dropped Kaneko's body to the ground. Her body is glowing red, but I see something alarming behind her. Lord Asmodeus is in trouble. Ignore the bitch and save Lord Asmodeus as he is facing down Lord Gremory, the traitor queen and the fake Leviathan. I launched a blast of demonic power at the Grimoire heiress as a distraction as I rushed towards Lord Asmodeus. I dashed past her, and from the corner of my eye, I could see the attack being dispelled by Akino. Damn, well, you can't win all of them. I see that the two women are attacking Lord Asmodeus with ice, and Lord Grimoire is aiding them by enhancing their magic. I launched fireballs at the three, distracting their attention from Lord Asmodeus. The three turned their attention to me as I launched hundreds of fireballs at them, with lightning bolts in between waves of fireballs. Get out of there, I shouted as Lord Asmodeus took flight away from there. He joined me in flight as we launched thousands of balls of energy at those three to put distance between us. I smiled as we gained a great amount of distance between them. I looked down to see my master near the ground, fighting members of the fake Leviathan sisters peerage, and more importantly him, the fake Lucifer. I need to help her as she is outnumbered and surrounded. I'm here, master, I said as I jumped into the fray. I smiled as our backs met. Here we are, fighting back to back as there are enemies on every side. I see 3 enemies on my side, all female, the vice president and 2 other members of the student council. Ladies, I'd say that I am sorry for this, but I truly am not. Okay, Katana Girl is on my left, Guy Face in the middle, and the vice president is on the right. I rushed at the Katana Girl on my left after materializing a katana of my own. I parried her thrust with a downward strike, and backhanded her with my palm. From the corner of my eye, I see the vice president charging at me with a naginata. I cartwheeled out of the way, but met a fist to the face from the guy-faced female, Tsubasa Yura, if I am correct. I rolled my neck and smiled at her. I launched a torrent of Yura, but a mirror then appeared in front of her. The mirror shattered, and a torrent of fire was then launched back at me. I dodged and whirled around just in time to see Katana Girl try to take my head off with a slice of her blade. I smirked as I saw her shocked expression. I punched her in the face and then kicked her in the stomach, sending her flying. I rotated my head around to see Yura coming at me with a roundhouse kick. I blocked the kick with my forearm, but the attack still hurt. I ignored the pain and charged at her. She threw a hook, and I ducked under and countered with a left hook followed by a right uppercut blade slash. The left hook stunned her, and the right uppercut blade cut her neck open. I pushed forward and swung my blade at her stomach, hitting her right underneath the ribs. I left her limp body on the ground as the vice president charged at me with a look of rage. I sidestepped the thrust before hitting the naginata upwards with a kick. I rushed forward and punched a hole in her chest. I impaled her and saw my hand sticking out the other side. I see Saji aiming something at my master. Watch out, I shouted as my master dodged a line from Saji. Thank you, Issei. She started as a look of absolute horror came onto my face. Fake Lucifer is firing dozens of spheres at my master. I launched a stream of demonic power at the spheres, hitting many of them, but a few swerved under the beam of power and are headed straight for my master. I rushed at her, tackling her to the ground and shielding her with my body. I glanced at her, and she is coughing up blood. Damn, have to take care of her first. I glanced hateful at the enemies behind us as I created a teleportation circle. Hee, you can't chase us. I'm holding this barrier together. You need to stabilize the dimension, otherwise all the humans here will die, I said with a smirk as they grimaced at this. Their need to protect humans is something I will never understand. I teleported out of here as I see Lord Asmodeus nodding at us from above as a magical circle appeared below him. We will finish this, I said as I teleported out of there. We made it back to the hideout, but Lady Leviathan's condition is getting worse. How the hell did this happen? Twilight healing was supposed to prevent this. I carried Lady Leviathan on my arms as Lord Asmodeus pushed the door open. What happened? Bekrizel, our resident medic, asked as we set Lady Leviathan on the operating table. I don't know. She was hit by the fake Lucifer's power of destruction balls, but Twilight healing should have taken care of that, I said as the medic went to work casting a stabilizing spell on her. There was a faint pulse of red before a bluish tint appeared over my master's body. The medic has a concerned look on his face. What is happening? Lord Asmodeus asked. This is some serious internal damage. Off-Eyes' snake has destroyed her magical reserves and the Twilight healing gear can't repair that. Too much power and energy expended in her fight. She will die shortly. These words are like daggers to my heart. What do you mean she will die? Lord Asmodeus shouted as I became speechless. Surzech's power of destruction fried her internal organs, and it is a miracle that she hasn't died from multiple organ failures yet. There is no stopping this. Not even devil magic can save her now. I slumped to the ground as I heard this. My master, the most beautiful woman in the world, will die. No, this cannot happen. Someone will pay. He did it. Surzech's. I will kill you and your entire family. This isn't about taking over the underworld back. No, this is something else. This is revenge, and I will personally have it. Just you wait. They've killed her, my master, the kindest, most intelligent devil in the world. They will all die. Yes, all of them will die. I will kill all of them for her. My revenge will be complete after I destroy their bodies and feed them to the Cerberus of hell. Calm down, Issei. Take a deep breath. There we go. In and out. There is no use planning revenge with a clouded mind. Lord Asmodeus, may I take a few days' leave of absence? I need to clear my head and think of revenge for my master, I said as Lord Beelzebub's teleportation circle became visible in the hideout. I completely forgot about him. Why is he here? Did the operation fail? Of course, we all need to all cool down. We are in no position to kill the imposters and avenge Katerea like this. Take a week off and then come back here. I nodded to Lord Asmodeus and Lord Beelzebub as I summoned a teleportation circle. I have no destination in mind. Just anywhere to take my mind off my master. I closed my eyes as the circle took me away. I took a week off to formulate a plan that will ensure that we get revenge. Lord Beelzebub and Asmodeus know of the plan and approve it, so I am currently acting on that plan. I'm checking in with my source, by phone of all things, as the source is a human. Humans and I have a special relationship. I don't care how often, how many, or in which way I kill humans. Humans are generally wastes of space and air, and I despise when they are reincarnated into our race. That being said, humans do have a purpose to us devils. The devils make deals with humans and they give us power in return. For many devils, it enhances reputation as the bigger fish you can get with your deals, the more power you get. Most deals involve the human getting something, and in return, the devil who fulfill contract getting worship from said human. The power of prayer is something that is very powerful to devils, and can boost a devil's power substantially if done over a period of years, depending on the length of the terms specified in the deal. We typically don't work like that though. When we, the true Satans, make a deal, the reward is typically much higher, but so is the price. Standard terms of the contract involve the person offering up their soul, a valuable portal of energy, to us when they die. The person is typically given a period of 10 years, and during these 10 years, they also have to give daily prayer to us. Think of it as interest on top of the soul. After the 10 years, the person goes to the underworld and we get the soul. Normally we'd just steal the souls from people, but that would get angels and the rest of devil society on our tail, so we have to go with this method at this moment. We can offer much more than other devils, such as millions of dollars, power, and almost anything you can think of, but remember, only 10 years. As such, most of our clientele is what you would refer to as fast and loose. Some of my more famous clients are singers that millions look up to all over the world, and they have lyrics that have subtle references to us. Miley, 4 of the 5 members of One Direction, and Bieber are some of my more famous clients. Don't worry world, Bieber's deal is 2 years from being completed, so just deal with his music a little bit longer. The kid I'm talking to today is the son of a very powerful financier, or at least was. Kid wasn't hugged enough, so he sold his soul to kill daddy and inherit the millions left behind. So I just have to summon this girl with her flyer, and you'll give me 5 more years. The kid sounded skeptical at the other end of the call. Yes, you get 5 years in addition to 3 years you still have on your current contract, I said as the line became silent. All right, you have a deal. How are we going to update the contract? I have already written it up, just waiting on your signature. Okay, let's sign. I teleported to him as I hung up the phone. I materialized the contract into existence and put the contract on his desk. I stared at the human, a well-dressed Japanese boy of 16 years old in a black suit, as he walked to his desk after grabbing a pen. Here, sign at the bottom and we will be good to go. All right, it's done. Ah, he did it. I thought he'd try to chicken of the deal. Smart boy. I hung up my phone and teleported to his apartment. Katana girl, Tomer Meguri of the student council, in the flesh, without her katana. You, she shouted at me with malice in her voice. I smiled as I stared at the ceiling above her. A perfectly painted devil's trap. A devil's trap is an elaborate magic sigil that renders devils powerless when they are trapped within the confines of the sigil. Was it hard? I asked as the human. No, getting the flyer was easy enough. The devil's trap was annoying to paint to say the least, but it wasn't hard. I nodded at this human and then at the trap Tomo Meguri. I held out my palm and cast a spell on her. Do you cupimus, tibi somno consapiri sempeter no? She collapsed on the ground as I stared at her, then back at the human. Well, I'm not going in there to drag her out. I'll be trapped inside, I said as I thought about the flaws of the trap. A devil under its own power can't get out of it, but another being teleporting it out or just dragging it out will suffice. Truly a weak form of binding. But I wasn't in the mood to teach this human the finer points of devil binding. The human grunted but proceeded to pull Tomo by her legs out of the devil's trap. I got a nice view of her white panties as the human lifted her legs up, but then pushed all lecherous thoughts out of my head. I placed a hand on her, binding her with a magical seal that will take a bit of time for even the most experienced spellcaster to undo. You've fulfilled your end of the bargain, I said to the human. I walked towards him and placed my palm on him as a black light enveloped the room. I turned back to the magically bound and unconscious Tomo before picked her up and throwing her over my right shoulder. I turned back to the human as I summoned a magical teleportation circle. See you in 8 years. Is the letter prepared, Lord Asmodeus? I asked Lord Asmodeus as I dropped the unconscious girl on the floor in our hideout. Yes, just making some finishing touches. I nodded and waited in the next room, planning all the possibilities of the mission. There is a very real chance that we will die, but it will be worth it as 2 fake Satans will be killed, but more importantly, Lady Leviathan will be avenged. I sighed as Lord Asmodeus called in back to read his letter. I took the letter and examined what it said. To the owner, this is the last straw, you've killed her. Katerea Leviathan, great daughter of Leviathan herself, and love of my life. You think that we are finished, don't you? But we are not. We will rise again and claim what was ours. First things first though, we need to get rid of you. It is quite simple what needs to be done. You see, we have something of yours. Quite a buxom, young, developed girl here. Shame if something were to happen to her. You see, by the time this letter reaches you, there will be a portal open at the coordinates at the bottom of this letter. The traitor queen and the fake Lucifer and fake Leviathan are to show up at this location at 8 in the morning on Wednesday, the 28th. More than those 3 people show up, she dies. You fail to show up, she dies. You show up late, she dies. But don't worry, you'll get your precious pet back. 1 body part at a time. From the true Satans. I smiled at this letter. This will do the trick. Our plan will succeed. Lady Leviathan will be avenged. I opened my eyes to survey the barren wasteland in front of me. This barren, empty field is the pocket dimension that I created for the final battle. We are just waiting for them now. It is them or us. Either they will die or we will. There will be no surrender, no retreat. We either kill them or die trying. It is a grim reality that we must face to avenge Lady Leviathan. They will pay for what they have done to her. I stared at Lord Asmodeus to my right, and Lord Beelzebub to my left. The stern looks on their faces paint their determination to see justice be served onto those who killed my master. There is also that Tomo girl that I kidnapped. She is bound and gagged in front of us. I stared downward at my watch. 7:57. 3 minutes until they arrive. Issei, Crucery, I have something for us, Lord Beelzebub said, causing me to turn to him. He is strapping on some mechanical glove to his left hand, and in his right hand there is a briefcase. He opened the briefcase and there are 3 vials inside of it. More of Ophai's snake. Take it. We will need the power, he said as I grabbed a vial after Lord Asmodeus did. I glanced at this vial with Ophai's snake in it. There is already one of Ophai's snake in my body, and I am about to ingest another one in. Will that be too much? No, I must. This is for Lady Leviathan. I will do whatever it takes to avenge her. I opened the vial and swallowed the snake within. Power is flowing out of my body. I stared at my hands, which are trembling with power. The veins have bulged out as the air around me became mixed with the aura my body is leaking out. There are 3 openings in the dimension. Our guests have arrived. The fake Lucifer, the fake Leviathan, and the traitorous queen. We are here, now let her go. Fake Lucifer said sternly as I glanced at the 3 in front of me. Fake Lucifer is to the left, fake Leviathan is in the middle, and the traitorous queen is to the right. How about no? Lord Beelzebub said as he launched a light spear at the bound Tomo. That is what that glove is for. The spear went through the girl and killed her. I looked at the shocked faces of the 3 in front of me as Lord Beelzebub launched spears from his glove. The 3 scattered as Lord Beelzebub called out orders to us. Crucery, get the bitch queen. I got the redhead. I nodded as that means I will fight with the fake Leviathan. I flew towards her as I launched hundreds of demonic lightning at her. She raised a barrier of ice that my lightning destroyed but left her completely fine. You are my opponent. Fitting that I'll be the one to get revenge on you for disgracing the name Leviathan. She frowned as I leaped in for more attacks. I rushed at her with fireballs, and she dodged them. Damn, she's fast. All right, no more dodging. I launched balls of demonic energy on either side of where she was going to be. She stopped violently, and that gave me the chance to close the distance on her. Da mihi fortitudinem malum, I said as she raised her eyebrows at this. Let's have some fun, shall we? I materialized a hammer and swung it at her face. Why isn't the spell working? It should have further enhanced my speed and power. The hammer missed her smirking face as she dodged to the left. I negated your spell. That bitch. I went to jab her in the stomach with the hammer, but noticed that she froze my feet in place. I generated fire on my feet, melting the ice restraints on them. I rushed at her with my hammer while quietly generating a short dagger in my left hand. She used her magical wand to parry the hammer, and tried reaching at my face with her open palm. I moved my head to the left, dodging her attempt at grabbing my face. She would have turned my entire head into ice, from what I know about her abilities and fighting style. I reset and held up my weapons in fighting stance. She started to freeze over the ground as I generated fire from the soles of my feet. The ground froze over and then burned as my magic overpowered hers. "Thank you, Off-Eyes snakes." I smiled as a look of horror appeared on her face. I approached her as I coughed up blood. "Well, it is worth the price of Off-Eyes snake if I get to rip her lungs out of her body." She tried to open her wings, and she did. The moment they come out, however, I burned them to a crisp. "Someone clip your wings." I rushed at her, seizing her by the throat and lifting her up. Her surprise only added to the delight of this. Time seemed to slow as I looked into her eyes. Ah, the fear she is showing is wonderful. Such a proud, arrogant devil on the brink of death. Vengeance is going to be sweet. Scratch that, justice is going to be sweet. You know, she often told me of this moment, how she would relish in it. But since she isn't here, I'll do the honors. I grinned, further than I ever did before. I reeled my fist back and rammed it into her stomach. Her blood felt purifying on my skin as I pulled my fist out of her body. I was suddenly thrown to the side as I was smiling. I fell to my back and, lifting my head up, could see the fake Lucifer with a look of concern on his face as he pulled his right hand back down. "Stupid Issei, letting yourself get distracted and not observing any dangers around you. You deserve that, and you know it." I got back to my feet as I glanced down at the body of the fake Leviathan and then at the fake Lucifer and the traitor queen. I mean we finally did it. Master, you are avenged. Justice has been served. The smile came back to my face as I saw the fake Lucifer and the queen come near the fake Leviathan's corpse. "You'd go this far." The ground started to tremble as the fake Lucifer spoke, the venom obvious in his voice. I grinned as I felt the air become heavier and heavier due to the amount of hatred that is leaking out of his body. "Good, now you know the pain I felt. Yes, and we will not stop until the streets of Lilith run red with the blood of the fakes. That includes you too, traitor queen," I said as the traitor queen scowled at that name. I remembered that blow that the fake Lucifer used to push me away after I killed her, and I looked at it by glancing down. Ah, my chest and stomach have 2 gaping holes in them. The effects of Off-Eyes snake might have dulled the pain. That must be why I didn't feel it. I glanced back at the fake Lucifer and his queen, deciding on how to make their deaths as slow and painful as possible before a thought came into mind. Where did Lord Beelzebub and Asmodeus go? I looked around and didn't see them, and couldn't feel their aura. Have they died? And I was too preoccupied to notice. I feel strange. I should be mourning them and being in a rage, but I am not. Everything is extremely clear and calm to me. Does Off-Eyes snake provide mental focus as well? I stared at the two in front of me as I pushed thoughts of Lord Asmodeus and Beelzebub to the back of my mind. They will be mourned and celebrated as heroes later. Right now, these two must die. I flexed my arms as I felt the power in my body. So, are we just going to stare at each other until the end of eternity, or are you going to do something? I smiled as a thought came into my head. You should probably use your true form. You'll need it. The ground violently trembled as rocks vaporized right in front of the angry faker. His body morphed into one of pure demonic energy, which I can feel this far away from him. So this is the true power of destruction that the Grimoire are famous for. Frightening indeed. The body of energy raised its hand and launched a beam of the power of destruction at me. I grinned as I raised my own palm and launched a stream of pure demonic energy at him. Serzech's beam split into thousands of spheres, but he is open for attack. My attack struck him and caused a giant explosion. Did I do it? Did I finally kill him? No, he is still alive, in his true form. No time to fire another attack as his spheres are coming right at me. I put up 4 earthly walls around me, and closed myself in by putting a wall on the top. I muttered an incarnation of Latin to further strengthen the walls from attack and then waited. The explosions were tremendous as his spheres hit my walls. I stumbled back as I felt the walls start to crumble, but they didn't. The walls held as the explosion stopped. I put down my walls and looked at the two in front of me. I felt a tremendous stinging pain in my back as I was forcefully thrown forward. I looked back to see my entire lower body disintegrated in a giant hole in my back. I understood what happened, and it was brilliant. Make me feel safe and then have the true attack hit me in the back. Cowardly, but effective. Alright, I'm not going to get out of here alive then. I can't teleport as my energy reserve's close to being depleted. He turned back to normal, and has a sad look in his face. I chuckled at him as they stood over me. What is this? The part where the hero lords over the fallen? I asked as he held his palm out. No, this is where we close a painful chapter in our history. I burst out laughing as he said this. Indeed, I rolled as far as I could from him and then looked at him. You killing me will destabilize this entire dimension. But if that is what it takes to kill you. I smiled as I thought of my final spell. Immolari pro anima me optimum. I felt my life force drain from me as I uttered the incarnation for the suicide spell. The ground started to quake as the dimension crumbled around me. Alright, if I can just kill these last two, this will be worth it. No, I see them in a teleportation circle and I need to stop them. Damn it, Issei, move. I can't move fast enough in this dying body of mine. I crawled towards him as fast as I could. I can't let it end. Not like this. I'll kill you. I summoned as much strength as I had left in me as I crawled further towards them. I am too late. He teleported out of here with her, and the spell can't be reversed. I feel the remaining life I have coming out of my body. I'm dying, and there is no way to stop it. I feel my body shutting down on me with all of my organs failing at the same time. I can't feel any part of my body anymore. I'm sorry, Master. I have failed you.